Here at All Sorts Podcast, we love diving deep into things that just capture the imagination. And today we're really upping the ante.
Yeah.
We're going full throttle into the world of Italian exotica.
Ooh.
But not just any Italian exotic.
Right.
We're talking about a machine, a two-wheeled masterpiece.
I like where this is going.
That's as much art as it is engineering, the Ducati Panigale V4.
An excellent choice.
And it's not just one bike, it's a whole family of...
A lineage.
Yeah, a lineage of high-performance motorcycles. We're not just skimming the surface here, no.
No.
This deep dive is about taking you right into the heart, the DNA of these incredible bikes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So buckle up, because we're about to unpack the tech, the evolution, and the sheer brilliance of the Ducati Panigale V4.
Ready.
To do this right, to really get under the skin of this iconic machine, we've assembled a pretty impressive collection of sources. First off, we have the always informative Wikipedia.
Of course.
Then we've got the official Ducati websites.
Both U.S. and international.
Both U.S. and international.
Got to get those global perspectives.
Got to get the global perspective, and then to make sure we have all the nitty-gritty details, we've also pulled in some dedicated spec pages.
Ooh, those are always fun.
Yeah, the spec pages are where the real tech heads geek out.
Good stuff.
With this wealth of info, our mission for this deep dive is threefold.
Okay.
First, we're going to extract the core technical innovations that make the Panigale V4 such a beast.
The heart of the matter.
Then we'll trace its lineage back. See how it evolved from Ducati's iconic V-twin heritage.
Oh, yes, the V-twins.
Yeah. So we'll see how they made that leap to this V4 powerhouse.
A bold move.
And finally, we'll navigate the labyrinth.
The labyrinth.
The labyrinth of the Panigale V4 family.
So many variants.
So many variants.
Each one more intriguing than the last.
Yeah. So we'll look at what sets each model apart. You know, what makes it special. We want to give you a clear, engaging, and hopefully inspiring understanding.
That's the goal.
Of why the Panigale V4 isn't just a motorcycle.
It's an icon.
It's an icon, a legend in the making. All right, so let's kick things off with a bit of history.
Okay.
Now, Ducati is renowned for their V-twin engines, right? That's their signature, that rumble, that raw power.
Exactly.
So why the switch to a V4 for their flagship sport bike?
Well, it marked a really significant turning point for Ducati. You see, they'd experimented with V4s before.
Right.
And way back in the 60s, they had this prototype called the Apollo.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it was a bit of a beast. And, of course, they had the Desmos Adichie RR.
Ah, the MotoGP monster.
Exactly. A limited run of those actually made it to the streets.
Really?
But the Panigale V4, this was their first full-fledged commitment to a four-cylinder future for their top-tier sport bike.
It was a statement. And this wasn't just some random decision.
No.
Right, the engine's roots.
Deep roots.
They go deep right back to Ducati's dominance in MotoGP. So tell me about that connection.
So the engine's development could be traced back to the 2015 MotoGP racing engine, the Desmos Adichie.
I love saying that Desmos Adichie. It just rolls off the tongue.
It does.
So they basically took this pure racing engine and said, okay, how do we make this work for the road?
Right. They wanted to bottle that high-performance DNA and transfer it into a bike that was both exhilarating to ride
on the street,
but also practical and reliable.
Right, because MotoGP engines, they're built for short bursts of insane power.
Absolutely.
Not for cruising down the highway.
So Ducati had to engineer that extreme performance for longevity.
And how'd they do?
Remarkably well, actually. They achieved service intervals of 24,000 kilometers.
That's pretty impressive.
It is, especially considering the power these engines produce.
Now, speaking of MotoGP influence, I heard they initially considered adapting the entire MotoGP chassis for the Panigale.
That's right, they did.
But they decided against it in the end.
They did.
So why the change of heart?
Well, they ultimately realized that what works perfectly on a MotoGP track might not translate well to the real world.
Right, because of road riding, it's a whole different ballgame.
It is. You got different surfaces, different conditions.
Yeah, potholes, weather traffic.
Exactly.
Things you don't really encounter on a racetrack.
So they decided to develop a completely new front frame for the Panigale V4.
And what was the goal with this new frame?
Optimization, weight reduction, and enhanced stability.
Okay, so they were really focused on making it handle well both on the street and the track.
Precisely.
Now, before we move on,
Yeah.
can we just take a moment to appreciate the name?
Panigale.
Panigale. It's beautiful, isn't it?
It is. It rolls off the top.
It does, and it's direct link to Ducati's home, Borgo Panigale.
A badge of pride.
Yeah, it just adds to the mystique.
Absolutely.
And in terms of Ducati's lineup,
yes,
the Panigale V4, it essentially succeeded the 1299, right?
That's right, in 2018.
Okay, so this was a clear signal that Ducati was moving in a new direction. From those torquey V-twins to this high-revving V4 beast.
They were pushing boundaries, embracing the future of performance.
They were making a statement.
A powerful one.
Okay, so we've established the historical context, the V4 revolution, if you will. Now let's get into the nuts and bolts, the core design and technology.
Let's do it.
That make this engine so special.
All right.
One of the things that always amazes me is how they managed to fit a V4 engine into a package that's not that much wider than the old V-twin 1299.
It's a testament to their engineering and packaging skills.
Yeah, talk about clever design.
Absolutely. Now, it did gain a bit of weight.
It did.
Right around 4.5 kilos or about 10 pounds more than the 1299.
But that's a relatively small increase considering the extra cylinders.
And the potential performance gains, right?
Exactly.
And there's another significant change we need to talk about. The frame.
Oh, yes.
Unlike the 1199 and the 1290, where the engine was a stressed member.
Right. Part of the frame itself. The Panigale V4 uses a more traditional aluminum perimeter frame that surrounds the engine.
It's a different approach.
It is, and it affects how the bike handles.
Absolutely. Different flex characteristics, a different feel.
Now, within that innovative frame beats the heart of the Panigale V4.
The Desmos Adichie Stradio.
Ah, the Desmos Adichie Stradio. Even the name sounds powerful.
It does. It evokes Ducati's racing heritage.
And it's a 90-degree V4, right? Directly inspired by their MotoGP efforts. But they didn't stop there. They actually developed two main versions of this engine.
That's right.
So walk us through the variations.
So you've got the larger 1,103cc engine. Which powers most of the Panigale V4 models.
Like the base V4, the V4S.
The special, the Superleggera.
Okay, so that's the workhorse, the main engine for the family.
You could say that.
But then there's the V4R. And that's where things get really interesting.
It's a special one.
It's a homologation special, specifically built to meet the regulations of World Superbike.
WSBK.
And WSBK has these rules, right?
They do.
About engine size. So the V4R actually uses a smaller engine.
A 998cc engine.
Okay, so same basic V4 design, but a smaller capacity.
Yes, specifically tailored for racing.
Fascinating.
It is.
So what are the key internal differences between these two engines that lead to the variation in displacement?
Well, the bore diameter is the same for both.
Okay.
It's 81 millimeters.
Got it.
But the stroke is different.
Okay.
The 11.103cc engine has a longer stroke, 53.5 millimeters, while the 998cc engine has a shorter stroke, 48.4 millimeters.
Interesting. And does this stroke difference affect performance?
Oh, absolutely.
In what way?
Well, generally speaking, a longer stroke engine produces more low-end torque.
Okay.
Which is great for street riding.
Makes sense.
While a shorter stroke allows the engine to rev higher, maximizing peak horsepower.
Which is ideal for track use.
Exactly.
So they've really tailored each engine for its intended purpose?
They have.
Now let's talk power figures.
All right.
Because these things are absolute beasts.
They are.
So what are we looking at for the 1103cc engine?
So the 1103cc engine pumps out a whopping 160.92 kilowatts.
Okay.
Which translates to about 215.8 horsepower.
Wow.
At 13,000 RPM.
That's screaming.
It is. And it delivers 124 newton meters of torque.
Okay.
Or 91 pound-feet at 10,000 RPM.
That's a serious amount of grunt.
It is.
Now, what about the smaller 998cc engine in the V4R?
So the V4R's engine produces slightly lower peak torque.
Okay.
112 newton meters.
Okay.
Or 83 pound-feet at a higher 11,500 RPM. But it boasts a higher peak power output.
How high?
172 kilowatts.
Which is?
About 231 horsepower at a screaming 15,250 RPM.
That's insane. And these figures can actually be further boosted with the optional race kit.
That's right, particularly for the V4R.
I mean, these are street-legal bikes.
It's mind-boggling.
It's mind-boggling the power they're packing.
Ducati really pushed the limits.
Now, one of the most fascinating pieces of tech that's trickled down from MotoGP is the counter-rotating crankshaft.
Oh, yes.
Now, for those of us who aren't mechanical engineers, can you explain why this is such a big deal?
So in a normal motorcycle engine, the crankshaft rotates in the same direction as the wheels.
Okay.
But in a counter-rotating crankshaft, It spins the opposite way.
Opposite to the wheels.
Exactly, and this counteracts the gyroscopic forces created by the spinning wheels.
Okay, I'm starting to see where this is going.
Right.
Less gyroscopic effect.
Means the bike becomes much easier to lean into corners.
Oh, that's brilliant.
It is.
Less effort, more agility.
Exactly. It makes the bike feel incredibly nimble and responsive.
So basically the engine is helping you turn.
It is. It's like having an invisible hand guiding you through the corners.
That's MotoGP tech right there.
Straight from the racetrack.
Now, another Ducati hallmark
Yes.
is the desmodromic valve timing system.
Ah, yes, a Ducati signature.
Now, most engines use valve springs,
They do.
but Ducati does things differently.
We do.
So can you explain the advantage of this desmodromic system?
So in a traditional engine, valve springs are responsible for closing the valves.
Okay.
But at high engine speeds, these springs can struggle to keep up.
And what happens then?
You get something called valve float,
Valve flow.
where the valve doesn't close properly or quickly enough.
Oh, that sounds bad.
It can lead to power loss and even engine damage.
Yikes.
But with the desmodromic system,
Yeah.
there are no springs.
No springs at all.
None. Instead, a mechanical rocker arm is used to both open and close each valve.
So it's a more positive, precise control.
Exactly. Even at those crazy high RPMs, the Panigale V4R hits 18,250 RPM.
It's like a Formula One car.
It's all about precision and control at the very edge of performance.
And that eliminates the risk of valve float, right?
It ensures greater reliability and performance at those extreme limits.
That's impressive.
It is.
Now all this power
Mm-hmm.
needs to get to the rear wheel somehow.
It does.
So what type of transmission and final drive system does the Panigale V4 use?
All variants use a 6-speed manual transmission
Okay.
with a wet multi-plate clutch.
Hmm.
And the final drive is a traditional chain.
Okay, so it's a tried and true setup.
It is proven and effective for high-performance bikes.
Now, of course, no modern superbike is complete without a suite of electronic rider aids.
Oh, absolutely.
So what kind of tech wizardry does the Panigale V4 have on board?
Well, it's got the full arsenal,
Okay.
Ducati wheelie control, to
DWC,
keep that front wheel on the ground.
especially important with this much power.
Then you've got Ducati traction control, or
DTC,
DTC, to keep the rear tire from spinning up.
safety and performance all in one.
And then there's Ducati slide control,
DSC,
DSC, which allows for controlled rear-wheel drifts
for the experienced riders.
for those who dare.
And even an advanced ABS system.
Yes.
That works even when the bike's leaned over in a corner,
Corning ABS, it's a lifesaver.
especially at high speeds.
Absolutely.
It's amazing how far motorcycle electronics have come.
It is. They've made these incredibly powerful bikes much more manageable and safe.
All right, so let's shift gears now.
Okay.
And talk about the different variants within the Panigale V4 family.
The Family Tree.
Yeah, because Ducati has really tailored these core technologies to create a whole range of models,
Yeah.
each with its own unique personality and purpose.
Mm.
So let's start with the Panigale V4S.
The S model.
What sets it apart from the base model?
So the V4S is all about enhanced performance and sophistication.
Okay.
The biggest upgrade is the suspension.
Okay, tell me about it.
It features electronically adjustable Öhlins suspension.
Oh, wow. So you can adjust the suspension on the fly.
You can.
That's awesome.
It is. And it has different riding modes: sport, race, street.
So it adapts to your riding style and the conditions.
Precisely.
That's next level.
It is.
What else does the V4S have?
It also comes with a lightweight lithium battery.
Okay, shaving off weight.
Every gram counts.
And forged aluminum wheels.
Yes, reducing rotational inertia, making the bike even more agile.
So the S model is a more premium and dynamically adaptable riding experience.
Absolutely.
Now, what about the Panigale V4 Special?
The Special, the name says it all.
It does. It sounds exclusive.
It takes the V4S and adds a whole layer of exclusivity and performance.
Give me the details.
So it has adjustable foot pegs, an Alcantara trend seat,
Fancy.
a distinctive top triple clamp carbon fiber mud guards,
Okay, weight savings.
and a sophisticated data analyzer system.
For those who want to analyze their lap times.
Exactly. And of course it has a race-style fuel cap.
Nice touch.
And perhaps most importantly,
Yeah.
a high-performance titanium exhaust system.
Titanium beautiful.
And a race kit that bumps the power up to 166.3 kilowatts.
So it's even more powerful than the V4S.
It is about 223 horsepower.
It's a beast.
A beautiful beast.
Now let's talk about the model that's deeply connected to the world of racing.
The Panigale V4R.
The WSBK Homologation Special.
Mm-hmm.
We touched on this earlier, but can you elaborate on what makes it so special?
So the V4R is specifically engineered to meet the regulations of the World Superbike Championship.
WSBK?
Yes, and that's why it uses the smaller 998cc engine.
Right, because of those engine size limits.
Exactly.
But don't let that fool you. This thing is still a powerhouse.
It is.
What kind of power are we talking about?
So in its standard street-legal configuration,
okay,
it produces 116.4 kilowatts.
About 215 horsepower?
At a screening 15,500 RPM.
Wow.
And with the race kit, those numbers go even higher.
So it's one of the most powerful street-legal production motorcycles out there.
Absolutely.
Especially when you consider its weight.
Yes, with a dry weight of just 172 kilos.
Okay.
Which can be further reduced with the race kit.
Wow.
It achieves an incredible power-to-weight ratio.
How incredible.
Up to 1.42 horsepower per kilogram.
That's insane.
It is, and the engine revs all the way up to 18,250 RPM.
That's Formula One territory.
It's a screamer.
And the frame?
The frame has been reworked specifically for the V4R.
In what way?
It features an adjustable swing arm pivot.
Oh, so you can really fine-tune the handling.
You can.
And what about those massive wings we see on the fairing?
Yes, the winglets.
They look like they came straight off a MotoGP bike.
They practically did. They're inspired by the ones used on the GP16 MotoGP bike.
Okay, so they're functional.
They provide significant aerodynamic downforce at high speeds.
Wow, so it's not just for show.
No, it's about keeping the bike planted on the track.
Now, what about the suspension on the V4R?
Top of the line stuff.
Tell me more.
It's got fully adjustable titanium nitrided Erlins NPX front forks.
Okay.
And an Erlins TTX36 rear monoshock.
So we're talking premium racing-grade components.
Absolutely.
Designed for ultimate track performance.
And even the gear ratios in the transmission are the same ones used in World Superbike.
Wow, so they've really thought of everything.
They have.
Any other standout features on the V4R?
Well, it's got these really cool gun-drilled titanium connecting rods.
Okay.
With internal oil passages for improved lubrication.
So they can handle those high stresses.
They can. And the pistons are lightweight aluminum.
Okay.
With a DLC surface treatment.
DLC? What's that?
Diamond-like carbon.
Oh, wow.
It's a super hard coating that reduces friction.
And that comes from?
MotoGP and Formula One.
It's trickle-down technology at its finest.
It is.
Now, the dashboard,
yes,
it has a special Track Evo display mode?
Specifically for circuit riding.
Okay, so it prioritizes the information you need on the track.
Exactly.
And the electronics package.
It's highly advanced.
In what way?
It's got engine brake control EVO2.
Okay.
A refined Ducati quick-shift strategy for faster gear changes.
Nice.
An updated cooling fan control system.
Okay.
And new power mode strategies for track use.
They've really optimized it for the track.
They have.
Now, what about the aerodynamics?
They've refined that too.
How so?
The wings are more compact and thinner now.
Okay.
And they've increased the fuel tank size to 17 liters.
So you can stay out on the track longer?
Exactly.
And the ergonomics?
Revised with a flatter saddle.
For more freedom of movement.
Especially during aggressive riding.
So the V4R is truly a no-compromise track weapon.
It is.
Built for speed and performance.
Absolutely.
Finally, we come to the pinnacle of the Panigale V4 family.
The Superleggera.
The Superlight.
In Italian.
The name itself is a statement.
It is.
This is about taking lightweight performance to the extreme.
To the absolute limit.
They only made 500 of these.
Ultra exclusive.
So what makes the Superleggera so special?
Well, it's all about weight reduction.
Okay.
The frame, the swing arm, the wheels, they're all made of carbon fiber.
Wow, that's serious weight saving.
It is.
And the engine?
It's the same 1103cc engine as the other models.
Okay.
But in the Superleggera, it produces 165 kilowatts.
About 221 horsepower.
And 116 newton meters of torque.
Okay, that's already impressive.
But with the race exhaust system, those figures go even higher.
And all that power in a super lightweight package?
It results in the highest power-to-weight ratio of any Panigale V4.
What's the number?
Up to 1.56 horsepower per kilogram with the race kit.
That's mind-blowing.
It is a true feat of engineering.
What else is special about the Superleggera?
It's got specially developed Pirelli Diablo Supercorsa SP tires.
Okay.
With a new rear compound developed in collaboration with Ducati.
Wow, so they even went the extra mile with the tires.
They did.
And the brakes.
State-of-the-art Brembo Styloma are front brake calipers.
Okay.
Even lighter than the ones on the 1299.
So they spared no expense.
The Superleggera is the ultimate expression of Ducati's performance and engineering prowess.
It's the holy grail of Panigale V4s.
You could say that.
So we've gone from the base V4 to the refined V4S, the track-focused V4R.
And the ultimate Superleggera.
It's an incredible range of motorcycles.
It is.
All built on a foundation of cutting-edge technology.
And Ducati's passion for performance
And we have those detailed specs that highlight the differences between the models.
Displacement, power, torque, weight.
All laid out for you to see.
It's fascinating to compare them side by side.
It is, and it really underscores how Ducati has tailored each bike for a specific purpose.
They have.
Now let's zoom out a bit.
Okay.
And look at the bigger picture.
The grand scheme.
The Panigale V4 family.
Mm-hmm.
It represents a fusion of racing technology and high-performance road bikes.
It's the best of both worlds.
And the evolution from V-twins to V4s.
Yes.
It shows Ducati's commitment to pushing the envelope.
To innovation, to staying ahead of the curve.
And they've created a range of bikes.
Yes.
That cater to a wide spectrum of riders.
From those who want a thrilling road bike.
The V4 and V4S.
To track enthusiasts and racers.
The V4R.
And those who seek ultimate exclusivity and performance.
The Superlagger. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, it's clear that the Ducati Panigale V4 is a remarkable achievement in motorcycle engineering.
It is a masterpiece.
It's pushed boundaries, it's challenged conventions.
And it's set a new benchmark for performance.
From its MotoGP-derived engine to its sophisticated electronics.
And the distinct character of each variant.
The Panigale V4 offers a profound and engaging experience for riders of all levels.
It's a bike that speaks to the soul.
So here's a thought for you. As you ponder the Panigale V4,
yes,
think about the impact of racing technology on road bikes.
It's not just about performance figure.
It's about how it shapes the riding experience.
The connection between rider and machine.
What are the trade-offs between track focus and everyday usability?
How does the Panigale V4 strike that balance?
It's a question worth exploring.
It is.
And, as always, before you head out on your next adventure,
yes,
we invite you to join the All Sorts podcast community. Our YouTube channel is meticulously crafted, just like a Panigale.
I like that analogy.
To deliver engaging and insightful content.
We aim to inform and entertain.
So hit that subscribe button.
Become part of the family.
And explore our archive of deep dives.
We've covered a wide range of fascinating topics.
From the depths of the ocean to the far reaches of space.
And everything in between.
And if you want even more all sorts goodness, follow us on X.
For quick insights and behind-the-scenes peeks. For stunning visuals and captivating stories.
And threads.
To join the conversation and connect with other curious minds.
All the links are in the show notes.
So call Explore.
And thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the Ducati Panigale V4.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring and keep asking all sorts of questions.
Absolutely.
We'll see you on the next deep dive.
I can't wait.